Welcome back, everybody, to the third edition of Keane Talks United. I'm obviously your host, Keane, here this evening. The Premier League season is back. Most importantly, unfortunately, Manchester United are fucking back as well. So we had a nice, great break after that Europa League fucking disaster against Spurs, and we've obviously we've had two pods in pre-season, but now we're back to business, back to what should be a very important season, not just for Manchester United, but as you can see, my guest here, he is an Arsenal supporter, William Bryant. Big season for Arsenal and Arteta as well, so we're going to chat about both teams. Making news there as well. And first of all, William, it's been I was supposed to say it's been a while, but I was talking to you yesterday, so I won't go down that road. But how's the summer been in terms of looking at the transfer window for Arsenal, and I suppose preparations for a new season, considering it's kind of 3 second places in a row? What's kind of the mood around the fan base been like, and what's kind of, I suppose, everyone's thoughts about
No, I'd say good to be back. Good to be back on. Good for the season to come back. In terms of the mood around, it's good that we got the transfers done quite early. Obviously, there'll be some level of unrest around the fans within certain fan bases of it that I think are a bit more. I don't know. There's a lot of nervousness around the club from some aspects of the fans. I don't know. There's more of a divide, nearly more than ever, kind of this season already, and it hasn't even started. So yeah, overall though, I think there'll be just a lot of excitement to see how the team actually performs now in the first game of the season. Things are obviously looking a lot more positive after we saw what we expect to be kind of our first team for the season in that last preseason game against Atletico. Once we kind of beat them pretty easily, controlled the game very well, and it just looks a bit more promising. So hopefully it'll be a good season.
Yeah, I think definitely coming into this new season, I draw a lot of parallels to, remember when we bought Ronaldo, Varane and Sancho? This summer you've kind of done Gyökeres, Joe Zubimendi and Norgard and Mosquera as well. So you've kind of got the players you've needed on paper coming into the season on the back of a second place finish and a semi-final. So I kind of look at Arteta this year and I'm like, he's under. I think for me, he's under pressure, and I've seen that the divide in your fan base already. There's a lot of people saying he could be gone by October. There's other people saying give him till the end of the season. Look, to be fair, it's happening on our side, Ruben Amorim as well. But I feel like Arteta this summer is definitely, because he's got significant backing this summer, especially in that striker position. There's definitely probably a lot more scrutiny on him that probably would have been there the last 3 years.
Yeah, I think there will be a little bit more scrutiny. Obviously, with every year that goes on, there's a bit more pressure. Well, look, football isn't black and white in terms of winning and losing, in my opinion. It's, trust the process and all this. Yeah, I get it. And there hasn't been much last season, but we still did progress better in the Champions League. I think he's seen where we absolutely had to improve in terms of our squad backing. And look, I trust him that if there was a manager to take us forward, that he is more than able to do it. Yes, there will be times that his tactics won't work and that he will get scrutiny, which will be deserved as well. But there hasn't been anything that shows me that he doesn't deserve backing. When you look at some stages last season, when we were stuck playing Trossard, Sterling, and we didn't have a number 9 even up top, Miguel Merino up top.
You done good to be fair.
Kind of made it work. He's seen that and then at least gone in and, got into the window hard that we had to, because we had one of the weakest, not one of the weakest squads, but we had one of the smallest depth in the Premier League last season in terms of our squad. So, look, that's been improved. And now it's, he's always been good with his first 11. Now he has to show it with the backup depth that he's gotten.
Yeah, 100%. I think, look, and tonight you mince my words. I think it's the fact he's nearly got upwards of 800 to 900 million now in over a 6-year period. I think that, like, to be fair, he's done well to build from, I suppose, stripping away Wenger's and Emery's team to kind of rebuilding the squad. I think there's been steady progress, let's say, over a 3-4 year period. I know the first kind of 2 years were rocky, but like over the last kind of 3-4 year period, I think there's been steady progression. Now, could have Arsenal done better in the cups? Yeah, 100%. I think they definitely, especially the FA Cup, I think they definitely could have done better in the last couple of years. But he's done well to make you a consistent top 4 team again. But I think now the next step definitely for Arsenal, and like I'm saying this respectfully, this is Arsenal Football Club. I think Arsenal should be, as a football club, as a giant of the Premier League, should be aiming to win titles, to FA Cups, Champions Leagues. They should be aiming to do that. I think after the outlay that they've had, and the fact that he's been able to progress them as a consistent top 4 team, now the next step for his development as a manager, but also the club and the team, is titles now, is cup competitions. I think that's kind of the natural progression that he has to have, because the stabilization is done now. Do you know what I mean? The consistency is there in terms of being qualifying for the Champions League when you didn't have it for a couple of years. Now it's still challenging for trophies again. I think that's probably the point we're looking at, I'd say.
Yeah, but I think that will be genuinely improved once he's now increasing the floor of the team with the new signings that are coming in. I think in terms of the squad depth, I think like we haven't weakened, we've gotten stronger. So that's why he's seen it. And through the cup competitions, that's where you see the depth of your squad. Because often you'd see the rotations in the first rounds of the FA Cups, in the later rounds of the Carabao Cups. Even in some rounds in the Champions League, you often see not the top players. You see your squad overall. So now that he's gotten his players in, hopefully that should just pick it up. And I think, look, I'm not going to complain about him. There was some stages, I was frustrated, but no, I think he's in for a good place. And look, we keep on getting further in the Champions League than we had even under Wenger for years. We got to the one final and the odd semi-final, but we've already gotten to another semi-final in the Champions League under Arteta. I think, look, it's only going to go up again.
Yeah, 100%. I think, look, if you look at Wenger's years as well, like, let's say Emirates era, he only got one semi-final in the Champions League, but he picked up FA Cups on the way. I think one thing we're probably looking at with the air of hindsight with Wenger's time is, I wonder what he probably would have done with the backing that Arteta is getting now. Because, like, remember Wenger in his final years, Van Persie left, Fabregas left, Nasri left, Clichy left. And then you were still getting top 4. And then eventually time caught up, and then he dropped out the top 4 because he wasn't getting back by the Cronkies. I think the Cronkies have kind of woke up to that. And it's like, okay, if we want to make money, we need to invest. Hence why Arteta's got the investment. And that's why, I suppose, the rebuilding of the club has happened. And to be fair, like, since COVID, they Arsenal have invested. Do you know what I mean? So in a way, they've done well to rebuild the club. But I think, like, if you're getting to a semi-final in the Champions League, the next step is, can you get to a final? When you finish second 3 years in a row, the next step is, honestly, going for that title.
And look, you obviously want to win these things, but each season isn't linear. Different things are going to happen. Different teams are going to get injury crises that you never expect to happen. You're going to get a few calls that don't go your way. You do need that tiny bit of luck to be in the right place in the right time. And it's unfortunate that we just haven't been able to be in the right place in the right time. We haven't been able to have that. Now, I wouldn't say that killer instinct, because not last year. Last year was poor in the league. I'm not going to lie about that. There was a few more injuries that didn't come to key players that Liverpool didn't have. But even the year before, like, we won like 17 of our last 19 games and still didn't win the league.
Yeah, that was just Man City madness, weren't it?
Yeah, that's the right place at the right time, City went on their run and they were in the right place at the right time. If we went on that run last season, you go on and win it. So you can only beat what's in front of you, but your players have to reach them heights.
Yeah, 100%. And look, again, like, the fact that Liverpool, like, I think this year, like, the way I look at it is, like, there's ways I think Arsenal can definitely improve this year. like in terms of like if they go far in the Carabao, they go far in the FA Cup. If they, obviously, if let's say if Arsenal stayed in the top 4 this season, and then effectively, let's say won the FA Cup, won Carabao Cup, and gave the Champions League a run. Let's say they won one of them and gave the Champions League a run. Then I think you can say like, okay, now they have that stepping stone. Do you know what I mean? To kind of go, right, okay, now we've that winning mentality. Next year, go for the title. Now this isn't me giving Arteta an excuse now. By the way, I'm just saying. Let's say for all intents and purposes, Chelsea build well this year, City build well. Liverpool continue what they've done. And Arsenal don't win the league. But if at least from that point of view, that like they go on and win a trophy, and stay in the top 4, you can kind of say, okay, the foundation is there, the trophy is there, and then it's like, right, okay, what area do we need to get that extra 5%? Like I think that would be a good season for me for Arsenal.
Maybe it's one of those where if you told me, oh yeah, if we say reach another semi-final of the Champions League, right? Say we reach semi-final of the FA Cup, win the Carabao Cup, and just get top 4 on the last day, I wouldn't see that as progression.
It depends though. If you get top 4 earlier on, let's say, well, it's top 5 now.
Yeah.
Like to be fair, right? It'll take the amount of English clubs we have in Europe this upcoming season. It will be a fucking disaster if like it isn't top 5 for the Champions League this year. I'm just going to come to this comment very quickly. It says I'm a graphics designer and I make professional football thumbnails and posts. I was wondering if you guys were interested. Drop me, if you're on Twitter, just drop me a message. You can see my handle there, United_Keane23. Drop me a message on Twitter and we can have a chat and get that sorted. That's no bother. But yeah, like, look, I think, let's say if Arsenal screw up 5th on the final day and, they won the Carabao Cup, maybe you could turn around and say it isn't a good season. But if you get to the semi-final at Champions League doing that, you get to the semi-final, what they say, the FA Cup as well. Technically, you're going far in competitions. You're going further than what you've went the last couple of years. Do you know what I mean? And then you'd have that trophy to back it up. Do you know what I mean? I remember we had a conversation about 5 years ago about those Ollie getting sent. It was like there's 3 semi-finals, and then he finished second. And you're like, Arteta had the better season because he won the FA Cup. Do you know what I mean? So I'm looking at Arteta still finishing in that top 4, but then also getting the cup. Do you know what I mean? You're killing 2 birds with 1 stone there.
Maybe. But look, it's kind of, it's what's a better season for a more successful season.
Yeah. Like, put it this way. Did everyone think Eric Ten Hag had a better season when he finished 8th and won the FA Cup when Arsenal finished 2nd? Do you know what I mean? That's kind of where people kind of weigh that up. Fuck Eric Ten Hag, by the way. But it's one of them. Niche fan says, I love Rice and Zubimendi, but Baleba is better than the both of them. Look, we'll have a chat about Baleba in a minute. I love that guy, by the way. And then I'm not going to come to the next comment because it's not PG. We're going to leave that there. But I'm relieved you are always in the chat, so Joe, good to see you back after my return. But yeah, Joe, it'll be interesting to see what happens with Arsenal. Like, I suppose, like when you look at United this pre-season, we've kind of done something similar to Arsenal in terms of getting players we need. We've revamped our attack, which was majorly needed when you looked at our goal scoring numbers from last season. Like when you look at our goals conceded last year, the defense didn't need kind of surgery this summer because we'd done the surgery on the defense last year, getting Mazraoui, Delete, Aiden Heaven in from Arsenal and other players, and Dorgu at wing back. And then, like, if you look at our goals conceded, we only conceded like 3 less than Villa and like 6 less than Newcastle. Considering the fucking start of the season we had, that's so impressive. Amorim did shore us up at the back, but scoring goals and creativity was a massive issue last season. There's a lot of games we struggled against low blocks. We struggled against teams who were set up well. Like Garnacho and Rasmus Højlund were shit. Like, there's no other way to say it. Like, and I can say it because I'm my own independent channel now. I can turn around and say, yeah, 100%. They are 100% shit. I know Anthony was shocking. Joe Rashford got put out on loan. So like a lot of goals came out for team last season. And see Sesko been brought in who I'm 50-50 on, but there's potential there. He looks better in Highland, which is a good start anyway. It'd be hard not to be. And then Mbeumo coming in, who had a very good goal scoring record in the Prem last season, and Matheus Cunha. So like we've revamped our attack. We've replaced Rashford as well in that. And I'm not saying that in a derogatory way towards Marcus Rashford. I'm saying we've replaced his goals with 2 players, kind of essentially. So we've done well in that regard to replace. But I think, like Arsenal, we kind of need our midfielders in because we lost 2 midfielders last year in Jorginho and that other guy I'm not going to mention. You know who I'm on about.
Yeah. No, of course.
Number 5. But you know them, he plays in midfield. So I think Carlos Baleba potentially coming in could be a good signing if he does come in. But when you look at our Man United's kind of forward issues, William, what do you make of the signings of the Premier League proven lads in Cunha and Mbeumo?
I mean, the one thing I suppose you can hope for is at least they know the league. You know, they should be able to hit the ground running. That they should be able to they should definitely be able to increase your output. Now, obviously, you know, Mbeumo's numbers will go down this year slightly. Because he won't have the penalties because Bruno will take them, but he still got 15 non-penalty goals last season. So you'd hope that, you know, he'll be able to kick on. Cunha's an interesting one. He's all right, but I don't know. There's just something about him I don't know at a top club. But I think as a transitional player in terms of your attack, I think he'll do a job. At the end of the day, you just needed to get a few extra numbers in there that will help increase your attacking output because last year it was shocking.
100%, yeah.
Look, I suppose we'll see as well. Like, I trust Sesko will be great in the air in terms of your physicality. So if you can just get a few more creative players around him, maybe you should be able to create more chances that way as well.
Yeah, do you know one of the reasons why we weren't creating chances last year as well? And it actually wasn't down to like the wing backs and kind of Bruno, because Bruno's chance creation rate was quite good. It's the movement of the players who are getting the chances. So Highland was very stationary. Garnacho would lose the ball. He'd try to take on a defender, then he'd cut back inside and he'd pass it backwards. Do you know what I mean? Whereas you remember season 1 Garnacho and season 2 Garnacho would take on the defender. He wasn't doing it. And then, you know, again, when you can have all the creative players in your team, but if your players aren't moving in the box, like you can't create them chances. And that's why, you know, like even like there was times last year when Ahmad would play wing back and he'd cut in on his left foot to put a cross in. He'd look up, no one is there. He'd have to take it back down the right, look back up again, and then no one's like, you know, Highland is still in that position. Whereas like, you know, looking at like, again, I'm not going to pretend to be one of these hipsters that says I've watched, you know, 25 games of Bundesliga and, you know, I've watched the heap of Sesko. But looking at his highlights, he does like to move across the centre back. He does like to, you know, make a run and get himself about in the box. So, like, you know, if he can make them movements in the box and, you know, the likes of Cunha can make that them late runs in, you know, Mbeumo's very creative. You know, Ahmad is good as well. And on the tour this summer, I know Dorgu was showing it towards the end of last season. He's kind of carried that into a tour where he beats his man and then he gets across into the box, like, which, look, for a lot of years, I know Luke Shaw's been in and out of the team with injury and he used to do this, but we haven't seen it too much. But like the classic Man United left back, you know, back in the day, whether we played a back 3 or back 4, when it was Dennis Irwin or Patrice Evra, you know, beating their fullback and whipping it into the box. Dorgu's, like, again, I'm not, like, again, before people take me out of context, because the internet loves to do this, I'm not comparing Patrick Dorgu to Evra or Dennis Irwin before you abuse me on Twitter. But, you know, he's doing the same type of thing in terms of beating the man, whipping it into the box. So if we can continue that kind of trend, and then, you know, Dallo on his day, you know, if he plays with wing back, can get into the box now. Sometimes 5 out of 10 crosses will be successful with that guy. But, you know, I think it's just repetition, patterns of play, Do you know what I mean? Like once we get that nailed down, especially with these forwards, I think we'll be okay in terms of attacking threat. Is what I worry about is if we persist with this system, we need a midfielder with legs. We need someone in there who can win second balls. We need someone who's good at carrying the ball, because them transitions forward and backwards, that's where we struggled last year, and that will kill us if we don't buy another midfielder this year.
I do think now, obviously, Baleba has legs and all that as well. And like he would be a good signing. Like you definitely do need midfield reinforcements. I was even looking at it there. You don't actually have that many midfielders, do you? Really? I mean, what you've got? Mainu, Amas, Ahmad.
Amas is a wing
Casemiro.
back as well, by the way, and he's going out
Yeah.
alone.
Like, what? Casemiro, Ugarte. Like, I don't know. It just feels like your midfield is very weak. You know, either it doesn't have the legs or it's just, I don't know, it's just missing a bit. You definitely needed the midfield reinforcement where even if you get Baleba, I don't even know if it's ready still.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I think, look, I think Baleba on his own will transform the midfield anyway, just naturally. Like, he'll do the stuff from a defensive aspect and also in transition on the ball, where our transition from defense to attack will be better. Now, again, like let's say if we do a two of him and Bruno's going to have to obviously be a bit more disciplined. And look, there's times when he's done it, then there's other times he can be erratic. So, like, I think think about Ruben Amorim. He's very pragmatic. So, like, if he's going to go with Bruno and Baleba, let's say Baleba does come in and that bid does be successful, we get that over the line by the deadline. Like, the way I look at it is, I think the long-term plan is Baleba Mainu. I think that's the long-term plan, because obviously Mainu's new contract, and like, I'll be honest, I think Bruno's going next summer. I think the promise is to stay this season to help with the rebuild, and then it'll be Cobby and Baleba. And I was actually reading that the other day as well, that that's the long-term midfield pairing that the club want, which, look, would be really good because you have kind of the ball retention kind of Mainu, and you have the kind of the pace and power of Baleba. I think that, like, in terms of our midfield too, that's probably the most balanced of, let's say, the current options we have. Probably the most balanced. And in terms of, like, most talented, I think Bruno is kind of here on Cobby Mainu now. Will Cobby Mainu go above that? I think with years to come, yes. But, I think right now, like, the problem is, I won't say it's a problem with Bruno, but like, he's the best footballer at the club by a country mile. He's the best footballer at the club by a country mile. It's just, how do you get him into the team? And I think he done the job in the two last season in some games. So I think for Ruben, especially one game a week, he's going to have to, I suppose, manage how he uses them. And it could become a problem. Like, I'm not saying it's going to be a problem. I'm saying it's a possibility. But, I think that's a conundrum he will have in terms of, if Bruno struggles, does he put Cobby in? I think that's kind of what the struggle he may have.
Yeah. And I suppose it's still also given Cobby enough game time so that he can genuinely improve himself. Like, I mean, you often saw it by the end of last season. It felt like because he was so good 2 years ago when he was in helping you. It just felt like he really stagnated last year.
He was fucked with injuries as well last year.
So he needs a good run, but at the same time, if things aren't going right, how is he going to manage that?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So I think that's the thing as well. Like, I think like the way I look at it is, like, Cobby Mainu, like, he's such a talented footballer. I'd hate for him to leave, because I'd hate to be another Paul Pogba situation where, like, Pogba had all the talent in the world and we couldn't get the best. And Harry Maguire said to Rio yesterday, actually, on Rio Meets, he said, like, Paul Pogba was the most talented footballer we had at the football club, but us as a club, as a team, couldn't get the best out of Paul Pogba. Now, there's times where Paul Pogba, maybe his effort and application in some games could have been questioned. But I think, like, if you look if we got, let's say, and it's mad, if United got Declan Rice instead of bringing Ronaldo back that season, we probably Pogba's form would have continued into that season because he would have had that hole in midfielder. Or if we got Casemiro in when we got Casemiro in, maybe he could have continued. Whereas I look at Cobby now. If you get the right partner for Cobby Mainoo, like look at Mainoo for England in the Euros last year when he had Rice beside him. Was it Rice? Who was the other midfielder in there? It wasn't Conor Gallagher. It was someone else. Who was in that England 3 with Mainoo? Was it Phil Foden? No, it wasn't.
No. Not Henderson, anyway.
It definitely wasn't Jordan Henderson. You bastard. If there's any England fans in the chat, do let me know who that third midfielder was. We have Manchester Pride song so that I can join the live. We have the show organised now, but if you want to jump on a future pod, send me a message on Twitter and we can sort that out. I wasn't planning on to do a combined 11 tonight, and it's the first game of the season, so I'm not going to do it because there's no players on form. But Nishran says, can you rate my combined 11? So it says David Raya, is he gone back 4 or back 5 here?
No.
David Raya, Lenny Yaro, Saliba, Lewis Skelly, Timber. Is he gone with no right back?
Yaro and Saliba, the 2 centre backs. Timber say right back. Lewis Skelly left back.
Rice. Baleba isn't yet United yet, lads. Come on, you can't be putting combined 11 yet. As much as I love it. Odegaard, Buemo, Sesko, Cunha. Right, I'll give you the right version anyway. It's a good team, but I think there's a couple of versions. There's a couple of players I change. Right, the keeper stays because our keeper options are horrible. Timber stays. I think Lewis Skelly stays. I love Lenny Yaro, but Gabriel is unbelievable. So it has to be a full Arsenal back 5 for me. I think Gabriel is class. Do I think Lenny Yaro will be better than him? Yes, in a couple of years, but not now. He didn't play enough games, and also Gabriel was Arsenal's best defender last year, so you have to have him in there. And William's loving this because I'm giving Arsenal praise, whereas in his lifetime, trust me, I haven't been this complimentary. You can't put Carlos Baleba in a midfield right now, so I have to take him out, unfortunately. So Declan Rice is in the midfield 3. Bruno's in there, and I don't rate Odegaard. I actually don't rate him. I don't know what it is. I just don't rate the guy. Do I put him in? Because you look, United's options last year are probably Partey was good for Arsenal last year, but he's not at the club.
You just put Zubimendi next to Rice.
Zubimendi, yeah, Rice. Bruno Fernandes, number 10. There you go. Yeah. I got your email there, by the way. I'll have a look at that when the show's over. So yeah, I go Rice, Zubimendi. I forgot you had Zubimendi. Fucking hell. Yeah. Rice, Zubimendi, Bruno Fernandes, Saka. I love Victor Gyökeres. Okay, so I'm gonna do the biggest cop out thing in history here. I haven't seen Gyökeres or Sesko play for their club, so neither of them are going in. Neither of them are going in, right? So we're gonna go Saka. Can't put Mbeumo and Cunha on the back of pre-season, can I? I'm gonna do based off their previous club form. I'm gonna go Cunha and Mbeumo with Saka as the front 3 off their Brentford and Wolves form respectively. Because Martinelli did disappoint last year, even though he's unbelievable. Like on his day, Martinelli is a brilliant player, and Trossard was in and out of the team, but again, he's clutch. But I think based off their Prem form last year, if we're going everyone off form from last season, let's say going into then, I think that'd be my front 3. Again, Gyökeres club form is unbelievable. Sesko, one's going strictly Premier League from last season, so he can't fucking do it to me. Oh, well, Zubimendi's in there, but I fucked my own criteria, okay? I fucked my own criteria. I'm not putting Kai Havertz into a team, right? I'm just not doing it. I'm not putting Odegaard into a team. So William bailed me out with Zubimendi. That was his honourable mention. But the rest is based off last season, okay? I'm protecting myself there. We might do an all-time, I think, Arsenal and United 11 at the end. Maybe. We'll see. We'll get through the topics anyway. But obviously, we talked about kind of both clubs' transfer business. And we both of our managers, I think, both of our managers have had significant backing, it's fair to say. I think this summer, I think Amorim is going to be getting more players by the end of the window. I know Spurs are in for Eze, so does Arsenal go for an alternative, or do they challenge Spurs for Eze? Be interesting to see there.
Spurs forcing our hand.
Yeah.
Which is fair play to them. That's a good tactic.
Well,
Because they knew we'd want him later on in the window. So it's like, right, how much do you want him?
Yeah. Doing what any Luco you said on Talksport. But on that, because like both of our managers have got like significant backing, it's fair to say. Obviously, Arteta, I suppose, has the backing of nearly 800 million, constant second place finishes. I suppose a lot of the fan base is demanding a title or a Champions League this season. On the flip side, Amorim's after finishing 15th, lost the Europa League final. He's got this significant backing this summer. Obviously, you know yourself, Manchester United and the media is a fucking different whirlpool of bullshit every day. Spinning on screen here. No. I'm back. Which manager is under more pressure this season? Arteta to win?
I'd argue, like, if things go wrong, like if things went wrong for both teams, Arteta would be in more trouble. That's just the nature of it. It's how much, like, I think if Man United still say lose their first few games, but are playing better, then you'd go, okay, we're not at that level yet, but we're still, at least we look better. We're starting to see a bit more improvement. Whereas even if we look brilliant and we start drawing games, I think we're under a lot more pressure and the fans will turn even quicker because we're expected to win.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think it's a strange one, right? On one hand, I think Arteta, if he loses, let's say 2 out of the first 6, maybe draws 1, like it could really pile on because even the likes of Talksport now are starting to peddle that little Arteta agenda because obviously the fan channels have done it, so now obviously they're jumping on the hate train now. You know, and then you look at United. Again, it's a strange one. I actually think it's 50-50, and that this isn't me copping out. I think they're both as nearly as lethal as each other in terms of like the fan base. I think both fan base online are the most toxic and most annoying fan base online that you come across. Newcastle are starting to push both fans. They're starting to get onto the medal table for being the most annoying fan base. But I think it's equally as bad. I think if Amorim starts badly after finishing 15th and getting that money, even if we're playing better, it's just a narrative. I think it'll be there for Ruben. Whereas I think Arteta, the narrative also would be he's after getting nearly close to $1 billion. You know, is his ceiling second place? Do they need a winner to get him over the line? I think them conversations will start happening with both managers. They again, different narratives, different positions in the table of where they finished, but like both clubs are gargantuan. And like when I look at both clubs where they are and where they need to be considering where they finished, I think both of them are actually under severe pressure to both start well. I think it's equally as bad. We're in different contexts.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see. You know, we'll see how the first couple of games go. You know, this first game will really tell a lot about a lot of this season. I think it'll tell more about our season than it will for ye. You know, like even if you get rolled over, you could just say, "Oh, Arsenal are on it this year."
Yeah.
You know, whereas if it's a close game, even if it's a close game, we win. I think a lot more credit could go to ye that you were playing better, or you know, I think there'll be a lot more against us.
What happens if you lose that opening game?
Depends on scenarios. Again, if it's a red card that the referees cost us, then you just.
Oh, here we go.
No,
here we go. The referees against Arsenal.
Campaign. No, it's not. It's against the referees against Arsenal. It's referees being absolutely thick and they're being terrible. I mean, look at the Community Shield. Look at McAllister handball.
The
I
handball
mean,
was
there's
fantastic.
a lot of decisions that just go wrong throughout the season. It's not them against us. It's just them, it's them just being poor enough at their jobs in general, which will happen. We will have many conversations about how bad referees are. And yeah, you'll pull out narratives, but throughout the season, different players can annoy a referee. And yeah, referees talk. They're only human. They will give decisions against them.
Yeah, Bruno opened his mouth, yellow card. Do you know what I mean? It's just one of them.
But it happens. You'll have people that you don't like, but that you necessarily work with. You don't let it get against your work, but if something goes wrong, you're more willing to turn a blind eye against other people,
Yeah, it kind of works like that as well. And Niche fan says, I think we beat the Gunners 2-1 with Baleba. If we don't get him, we lose 4-1. At least that's some swing. That is literally some swing. I don't think we're going to have him in by Sunday, unfortunately. I'd love it. And I think this is one that probably get done. It's going to be, as much as I'd love him in for Sunday, I'd love to get him in on deadline day, like 11 o'clock in the night. He's just arriving into the training ground. And this is one of them old-fashioned Sky Sports News arrivals. But Fabrizio Romano, he's great at what he does, right? To get exclusives, and he drives engagement very well. So I'm not going to slander him, right? But my God, he has ruined transfers. My God, like the excitement of a transfer gets absolutely killed with him. Remember back in the day when Arsenal signed Mesut Ozil on deadline day, like everyone was hooked to Sky Sports News that night to see Mesut Ozil, go to United, or sorry, go to Arsenal. Go to United, go to Arsenal. Or when I know this transfer ends up badly, but when Alexis Sanchez went to Man United over Man City and waiting for him to arrive and the fucking piano announcement and all that, like, do you know what I mean? Them old transfers, like back in the day, were great. Now with Fabrizio, we get so many updates. It's like, oh. And again, the transfer might actually take the same normal amount of time that I generally would, but the fact there's every minute detail is out. He went for a walk this day. He really wants the Chelsea move. Do you know what I mean? Garnacho is lifting weights. He's really waiting for that Chelsea call. Like he's vaping in his sitting room. Like, yeah, it's fucking wild. Like he's great at what he does. But at the same time, it's after killing the excitement for transfers, I think. We have confidence says we don't have a viable midfield without Baleba. Ugarte gives the ball away too much and Casemiro's too slow. Yeah, Casemiro doesn't have the legs to play in a 2, I say, every week, but there's definitely games he can make an impact with his experience. And I don't think Ugarte is as bad as people make him out to be, but I think what people need to do with this guy is just curtail their expectations as to what his skill set is. Like everyone came in with the expectation this guy was brilliant on the ball. He was never that at Sporting or PSG, and hence why your man Enrique got rid of him and got Joe Neves in. He's not a possession midfielder. He's kind of more of a break-up play player. So, again, it's just how people profile these players. But yeah, like it's weird because with the way it is for these two clubs, and like us especially coming into this weekend, a lot I think for me will be how do we set up, who's in the middle of the park. I think the goalkeeper and back three is interchangeable at the minute for us because Onana is not good, Boyendier is not good. Tom Heaton is probably better than the both of them, but he's ancient. So, like, he's not going to be thrown in there, do you know what I mean, for the first game of the season. So, it's like, whoever you want to put in the goalkeeper position, they both have different weaknesses. So, that's going to be a position Arsenal would target for set pieces. But I think the back three is fine. I think any iteration of the back three we put in, I'd be comfortable with because our centre backs are quite good. It's just who's in the midfield too and how do we set up the front three? Because
what do you think that you will do?
Onana,
what do you think the lineup will be?
Onana and goal, unfortunately. I'd love Ahmad wing back, but it's gonna be. Would he go there? No, he'll go Dallo right wing back. Then he'll go Yaro, Maguire, Aiden Heaven. Just considering that's the centre back partnership he went with Saturday against Fiorentina. Patrick Dorgu left back, and then he'll go Bruno Casemiro, I'd say that'll be the midfield too. Bruno Casemiro. He might go Bruno and Ugarte, but I reckon Casemiro will start because he started in big games last year. You go Bruno Casemiro, and then it's a toss-up then. So if Sesko doesn't start, Ahmad will start in the three. So it'd be Ahmad, Mbuemo and Cunha. But if Sesko does start, Ahmad will be on the bench, and it'll be Mbuemo, Sesko, and Cunha. I was interested to see. I'm going to look it up now while we're here. How many games Sesko's actually played in pre-season? Because if he's had a pre-season, then start him.
The tactics would be interesting because it'd be way different if you're playing Ahmad up there versus if you're playing Sesko up there. Obviously, if you're playing Sesko up there, it's your chance to hit kind of on the counter. You can hit him long, knock it down, and then play the fast guys in behind. Whereas if it's the free fast guys, then you've just got to try and pass through the midfield a little bit more.
Do what we done in 22-23 when we played Rashford up front against C and play that pass in behind. That was that'd be kind of the way you'd look at it. If Sesko doesn't play, you're probably looking at Bruno and Dorgu probably pumping passes in behind, but with Saliba back there, you'd have to hope for him to step up, and then you'd have to time that run. Whereas if Sesko's up there, you can try to keep him occupied, and then your other centre backs
he'd be the one to try and get Saliba kind of out of position. With the pushing up, with probably dropping in as a false nine-ish.
Yeah, I'm looking up Benjamin Sesko. I'm having a look now. Oh, Champions League qualifiers are on today as well. I've seen that there on SofaScore. Come on. Benjamin Sesko. He played the NA. Does that mean he didn't play? Or he didn't get a rating? I don't think they're giving ratings for pre-season games on this thing. Because Rashford played a game, got an assist the other day and got an NA. Yeah, Sesko played, yeah. He played two pre-season games. So, yeah, look, if he's after playing games this pre-season, then there's no reason why he shouldn't start. Because he's training all week. So I'd play him anyway. I'd start him from the start on Sunday. Now, the other side of it is, the flip side is, if you don't want to play him from the start, and then if the game is 1-1 with 15, 20 minutes to go, get the Old Trafford crowd up or bring on Sesko then, kind of a Martial-esque moment. You could try go for that. But I'd play him from the start. I think just if you've paid that money for him, if he's ready to go, put him in. I think that'd be the way I'd look at it. What way do you think Arsenal are going to set up?
To be honest, I'd say it'll be the same team as the Bilbao game. That looked like our best team. Maybe one change that'll be interesting, but I don't think he's had enough preseason. So I'd say Real be in goal. Timber probably right back. Just because he's a little bit better defensively, I think, than White. Just about. But that's pretty much the closest battle, I'd say, in the team would be White or Timber. You'll have Saliba, Gabriel. I think Calafiori starts this season.
Do you think Lewis Skelly on the bench?
Yeah, I think Arteta will trust Calafiori a little bit more, get a few minutes into his legs. I just think he's a little bit more mature, he's a little bit better. And I think you just bring on Lewis Skelly then off the bench around 60 minutes as well.
Do you think Lewis Skelly at some point will transition into midfield?
Yeah, I think he'll have moments, all right, where he could, but he could just end up being like Zinchenko, always ending up at left back, and just playing his way from there. Because he's very good at what he does. But I just think to get the left-hand side working a bit more, I think they're going to try Calafiori at the start and see if that opens up different runs, just gives us a little something different on the left that we haven't seen. Midfield 3, Zubamendi, Declan Rice, Odegaard. I think that midfield is going to be pretty nice, all right. because you've got power, you've got intelligence, you've got precision. That to me looks like a really beautiful midfield three for this season. Need Odegaard to pick it up, but you're hoping now that Zubamendi's in, Odegaard can push up a bit more up the pitch, not have to drop to get the ball, and just get it a bit more where he did a couple of seasons ago in between the lines. And now that he is a striker that he can play it through to, it's a bit more options. Hopefully it should unlock a bit more out of Odegaard, who in pre-season has looked a little bit better than last season. So hopefully it can continue.
He doesn't have Havertz dropping into the same positions as he's in. Do you know what I mean? Whereas when Havertz and Odegaard played together, while there was times it worked, some of the time they're both picking up the same space.
I know there will be games as well that Odegaard is probably dropped, and you'll see
on that last man. Do you know what I mean? Like, and then
in front three,
in theory, Odegaard should have those space, pump it whoever the left wing again, and Saka. Nishman says, "Whoa, my connection's gone all over the place." Nishman says Arsenal has a fantastic midfield. That's why we need Baleba. Yeah, look, hopefully that bid gets in soon. It's a great crack as we get him in for deadline day. It'd be absolutely ideal to get him in for Sunday, but with how complex that deal is, I don't see that happening. To be honest,
look, you'd have to get him in by Thursday.
Optimistic.
Thursday, wouldn't you have to get him in by? In order to be part of the Premier League?
It's Friday, I'm pretty sure. Friday, 12 o'clock. I think it's Friday, 12 o'clock, isn't it?
Maybe. It's only because I know...
Oh, no, it is Thursday because Liverpool are playing Friday. You're right, yeah.
Yeah. So...
Yeah, you're right. You're right because Liverpool are playing Friday. If all the games were on Saturday, we'd have 12 o'clock Friday, but it'll be 12 o'clock Thursday to get the registration in. So, and we're on Tuesday at 8:45, so I don't think he's getting done in time. As great as he fucking would be. Or the other thing is we can sign him and then announce him on Sunday right before the game to get the Stretford end up for it. That'd be another great thing. I remember the first game of the season 3 seasons ago when we played Leeds on the first day after COVID. I was absolutely intoxicated, and seeing Raphael Varane walk out in a Man United shirt was just unbelievable stuff. I wish we signed him a lot earlier than we did, but it was absolutely great vibes. But it'd be great to see Carlos Baleba walk out on Sunday with the shirt. That really get the fans up for it. But we had a question in the comments. If I go back up, it was about the combined 11. We will not do a combined current. What we will do is I'm going to pick an Arsenal 5-side team, and William, I'm going to get you to pick a United 5-side team. And this is all time, by the way. So we're not going current teams. That'd be too easy. So we're going to pick it. We're each going to pick. It'd be easy to go with each other's teams. Like for me to go pick like a 5-side United team, and him to pick a 5-side Arsenal team. We're going to flip the script and we're going to go an opposite way here. So William, I'm putting you on the spot first because it's my channel. I'm going to give myself time to think about Arsenal players. I'm going to get you to pick a United 5-side team. Now you have an option. You can go no goalkeepers if you want. That's the rule Rio does. So you can go no goalkeepers. Or you can go goalkeepers, but then I'll have to follow the same format as you do. So pick your 5-side United team.
Just think.
No Google, by the way.
No, I'm not. You know what? Screw it. I'm gonna. It's basically gonna be very attacking, but fuck it. So yeah, I'm gonna go no goalkeeper.
Okay. So
and I'm only going one defender.
Right.
And it's ironic you mentioned him already. I'm gonna go Rio. Because I think in a 5-side he'd have the ability to just play. And that's what you want, not someone to go through you in that tightness. Yeah. And then I also go someone that'll go right through you in Roy Keane.
Hey, the one thing I'll say is, and there's a lot of things that are slept on, he did go through people, but he was absolutely brilliant on the ball. That's one thing him and Vieira, right? Him and Vieira don't get the flowers that they do in terms of their on the ball ability, because him were just two hard men who could play, but everyone thinks them as hard men.
Yeah. No, they definitely could play, but still, they're still. I'd still rather be known as a hard man that could play.
Yeah.
The other then, I'd go Wayne Rooney in midfield. Again, it's a five-a-side. You don't have to run that far. Plus, he had the aggression, he had the ability, he could pass, he could finish, he could do anything. And then I'd have Andy Cole and Ruud van Nistelrooy. Because it's like, you've got the ability there, you've got the strength there, and then it's just like, nah, you two, just score. Just take your half chances. Goal, goal, goal.
Yeah. It's the first United five-side team Ronaldo. I haven't seen Ronaldo in, but that's good. I actually like that because it's not the obvious choice. I think I love that Andy Cole inclusion because he's one player that didn't score many penalties. He done it for Newcastle and he done it for Man United as well. Fucking doesn't get the respect, probably even from United fans as well, that he deserves. But I love that choice. That's a proper niche. That's a proper niche choice there. If you're not talking to if you're not talking to Sean Maroney now, if he's like in your ear right now, he definitely would have told you to show me a fucking curveball of Andy Cole there. If he didn't, I fucking really respect your choice.
No, I just look. He was a really top striker, you know, and he finished his chances. That's what you'd want on a five-a-side, you know. Fair enough,
Yeah.
you could have the flair of Cristiano Ronaldo and all that, but fuck it, you know. I want someone that'll be, he'd go hard as well if he had to, you know, in a five-a-side as well. He'd work back if he had to. He'd do all that. Rude, not as much, but he was a
He just hangs up there.
He's rude.
Yeah. Literally just pump it along to Rude and he'll bang it in. Now you've given me no option for a goalkeeper, so I'm going one defender too. I'm going attack and I'm going Ashley Cole. I know there's the Chelsea version, but I'm going Ashley Cole. I was going to go Sol Campbell, but if I'm talking pure on the ball, Ashley Cole can get up and down as well. So I'm going to go Ashley Cole. Cesc Fabregas for on the ball ability. Patrick Vieira in midfield because he can get up and down. He can do both. Thierry Henry and Robin van Persie. Again, there's other players, so I could have put Bergkamp in. Actually, hold on. Do I take him out Van Persie?
Yeah. For five-a-side, you'd want Bergkamp's mix of height, strength, and just brain.
I love our. God, well, RVP is actually more of a United legend, Arsenal legend. Fuck it, he's not going into this team. Bergkamp and Henry, yeah. So my team is Ashley Cole, Vieira, Cesc Fabregas, Bergkamp and Henry. I can sleep with that 11. I think I can sleep happy. 5. Not 11, 5-a-side. But I think that'd be that's my thing. I was going to put Sol Campbell in as my defender, but I feel like Ashley Cole was brilliant on his day. And he's part of the Invincibles back 4 too, so I can get away with putting him in there. So I'll if people down in the comments let us know whose five-a-side team was more obvious. Was it mine or was it Williams? Probably mine. So this is all of Arsenal's fucking trailblazers. And probably if there's Arsenal fans in the comments, they're probably going to give me untold abuse about putting Robin van Persie in that team. But on that, William, so obviously we've kind of went through transfers, put the five-side team. I'd be remiss if I didn't get your score prediction for Sunday.
Let's go optimistic. 3-1 Arsenal.
3-1 Arsenal.
I was hard to think. I was like 3-0, 3-1. I was like, it's the first game of the season. You're probably going to score.
What gives me hope is Arsenal don't often win at Old Trafford. their last win was like not this season, the season before when we literally had fuck all to play for. And that was our first win since 2006 at Old Trafford in the league. I know you beat us in the FA Cup before you bring up Danny Welbeck.
Yeah, we don't lose to ye in the league either, though, because we've gone over 2 seasons without losing to any of the big 6 sides.
Yeah. Well, that's going to change on Sunday. I'm going to go 2-1 United. And just to up the storyline, I'm going to go, because both strikers were linked to both clubs and it really should have went the opposite way. If at the start of the summer, I'm going to go Benjamin Sesko winner from a header. That would be absolute cinema. Because I think just for the Twitter timeline, I want to see that happen. He's not even my first choice striker in terms of, like, I wanted Ollie Watkins, but a Benjamin Sesko winner would be cinema. Just to see the meltdown on the Arsenal side. Just to see that. If Gyökeres scores, it goes the other way. Swings and roundabouts. If Gyökeres scores the winner, United timeline will fucking explode as well.
I think Gabriel corner. We're scoring a corner.
Yeah, set piece.
It's just going to happen. I just know it. Gyökeres, I think he'll get a goal. And you know what? I'm going to say, because you don't rate him, Odegaard.
I knew you were going to do it. I knew you were going to do it. I went to Sesko winner. I go Saka score for Arsenal because, Saka. And then the other goal. Yeah. The other one, then I'll go for our other goal. Bruno Fernandes penalty. Because you can't beat a Bruno pen. But on that, we will wrap it up there. Thanks very much for people in the comments and people who are listening on the audio. Do drop a like on the audio and also give a rating, whether it's on Spotify or Apple Pods. And if you're listening on YouTube on the replay, then do obviously like, subscribe. The next video will probably be next week. I'm actually away 1 of 2 days next week. I'll try to get a video out next Tuesday, Wednesday. Next Tuesday, Wednesday, I'll try to get a video out. Obviously, hopefully, Baleba is in by then, or a new goalkeeper. I can talk about the game as well, hopefully, about a win. And I'll be on Talk to Devils then on Thursday with Phil Martin, Lee Lawrence, 2 former United there. So do check that out. I'm back on there as well. So do go over and give that a like and subscribe if you want to see me and the 2 former United lads over there. And until then, do obviously catch William on his Twitter page, as you can see there, Willie Shitty Bry. And cheers everyone for your support. And hopefully this is the first of hopefully a positive season for Man United. If not, it might be another long way to go this season. But hopefully that's not the case. 1 game a week, 21 is coming. We can hope and dream. But until then, guys, see you later.